Hey, 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 everybody. So I did the video called Ego Takes Many Forms. And I said, when I was talking about love, and I said, a person can punch you in the face and love you. And people, I know people are going to be thinking, well, how can that be? If you listen to that video, Ego Takes Many Forms, this is going to give you I'm going to go a little bit deeper about the love aspect of what I mentioned in that video, and why, you have to be able to just stand in truth and observe things rather than jumping into the polarity of it where you're not going to be able to see clearly. So even when people say, people are so into this whole love thing and compassion and what they think is empathy and what they think is love, and they don't understand what love is from a position of truth. They understand it from a position of emotionality, just a bunch of emotional stuff, and they understand it from a physical perspective, but they don't understand true love, which is based within the soul. So when I said, a person can punch me in the face and love me, what I mean, I'm not talking about abusive relationships, okay? Even though those are teaching you lessons that are very valuable. So we can't say that they're not acts of love, but I'm not condoning remaining in abusive relationships. I'm making a different point, and I'm going to elaborate on what that point is right now. When we talk about what love is from a spiritual standpoint, okay, not from the ego, not from the earthly realm, not from emotions, okay, because the ego thinks of love as feeling good, people who make me happy. I could go be with a person that just makes me so happy, and it could be the worst choice I've ever made for my soul, okay? It could be an ego decision, because the ego looks for what's easy, what prevents it from having to die, what means I don't have to change, I don't have to die. Most people, when they talk about true love, they're talking about two egos that like each other. Two people that don't have to die for love. The ego doesn't have to die for love. They can just be accepted as they are in their bullshit, and they don't have to transcend ego in order to get to the love that's at the soul level. Okay, we like each other just as is. Nobody has to grow. Two egos wanting to have a true love connection. But anyway, so when we talk about love from a place of truth, I can love the person more. Love can be, say for instance, there's a person, okay, that is full of rage, full of anger, and they're really quick to fight, okay? So they're going around fighting, which at some point, if they continue this behavior, there's a person they're going to run up to, and they're going to have this rage and anger, and they're going to provoke a fight, and this person is going to put a bullet in their head. Okay, because they're on a path of self-destruction with their anger and their rage. But say, for instance, they meet me, and they're in this place of this anger and rage, and they flip out over something really little, and they're, full of rage, and they're wanting to fight, and I just decide to kick their ass. I just decide to just literally beat the shit out of them. Okay? And this person, out of getting their ass kicked like that, this is humbled. And they're able to address their rage, and they say, you know what, this is the wrong path. And they may do it in the hospital with their jaw wired shut. While they're there and they can't talk, and they sit in the hospital bed for a week, and they think about it. And they change their course of action. So the person who next year was going to put a bullet in their head, they never meet. And if they do meet, they don't get the bullet put in their head. I love them more than the person who refused to kick their ass. Because I saved their life and I did what was best for them. Now I'm just giving an example, okay? And I'm going to give another one. If I love an ant and I take a pound of gold, which gold is very valuable, right? If I was to give somebody a pound of gold, you would think that I love them, right? Because I am giving them a pound of gold, something that's valuable. But if I give the pound of gold to the ant and it crushes the ant and kills it, did I love the ant? So you see what I mean about love? Something that can seem good can be bad if it's bad for the soul. See, it can seem like love to, meet someone and just, accept them just as they are, when they have a lot of things that they need to change. Their soul needs to evolve. Their soul is suffering. And I say, no, you're perfect as you are. I didn't love them. Or if I'm dealing with a person and out of emotion within myself, okay, beliefs within myself, I'm overly compassionate towards them, when what they need is not that. We don't love anyone when we give them what they don't need. When we give them, sometimes what seems like a good thing is detrimental. If it's detrimental to the overall well-being of the person, it's not love. So if you're on a path of destruction and I come in and coddle you, and I help you continue that path of destruction, and I help you continue to die from the inside out, or for your soul to continue, for you to just continue to deteriorate, and I come in and I coddle you in that, I'm actually your enemy. I hate the ant that I gave the gold to. I didn't love the ant to give it the gold, even though the gold might have been the most precious and valuable thing that I owned. And I didn't hate the person that I beat up, that needed it, that was on a path of destruction, full of rage, and needed it. So these are just examples, but it helps you to understand what I'm saying. Love is not what feels good. Love is not something of the ego. That's the way the ego loves. The way the ego loves is what feels best, what's easiest, what seems like it just looks on the way it feels. The ego is very physical. It's very sensual. It's very much in the senses. Just what feels the best. Or in the ego mind, what seems like, this person, because I can tell you this, the people that I've met that wanted to love me where I was when I didn't need it, that they didn't help me. That doesn't help me. That's not love. But see, this is the thing about love. When we go through this point, these people, a lot of people will be just overly emotional, and they feel like love is this just overwhelming emotion, and it's not. Compassion is not this overwhelming emotion. Empathy is not this overwhelming emotion. Overwhelming emotion always comes from something defective or lacking or missing within the person who has the overwhelming emotion. A lot of times what people call compassion, which is this overwhelming emotion that compels them to act and do a certain behavior, and they think that it's coming from love, empathy, compassion, when it's really coming from their own ego. They, their own need to be the most compassionate, to have, I'm an empathetic person. Look how much I'm empathizing right now. Look. This is what, if they were true to themselves and they were connected enough to see their true motives behind their things, that's what they would, behind a lot of their behaviors, that's what they would see. See how I'm more empathetic than most people. Look how compassionate I am. Look how much empathy I can have. Look, that's the ego. The ego will do things in a tricky way, where it wants to seem more compassionate. It wants to seem more loving. Why? Because that's more approved of. It's more approved of. You'll get more, people will look at you in a better way. And your ego likes that. It wants to be looked at in a way that's approved of. And, for people to admire it. Look how compassionate I am. Look how empathetic I am. I'm the most empathetic of all. Look how I cater and care for other people's emotions all day. I'm so empathetic. And it's nothing but ego. Loving to get love, That's what all the overwhelming emotion is. When you're just overwhelmingly compassionate, you have a need to be compassionate. It's a need within yourself that the ego has that it's trying to fulfill. You're trying to fulfill your own judgment, maybe against yourself, about how compassionate you should be. And it's a way that the ego lives. Or loving to get love, loving so much, and then, oh, I'm so loving. No, 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 no. That's not truth. When we love in truth, it's not overwhelming. It's not, it's not drowning emotion. It's not intense emotion. It's what it needs to be. It's what's necessary. That's true love. What's necessary, what's needed, what's in the best interest. Okay? So just something to think about. Hope you found it insightful. Talk to you later. Bye.